as far as marathons go, New York City is a tough one.
Dynamic flexibility, form drills, that kind of stuff, it can make a huge difference.
Generally, it's been the trend for me to just start out haphazardly as fast as I can go and gradually get worse.
Conserving as much energy in the first half is key to feeling really good at the end.
Each visit that I have with these world-class elite athletes, I get knowledge that I know is going to really help me as I go along.
Here we are in New York City for the ING New York City Marathon. It's me and about 50,000 other people that will be running through all of the boroughs of the city for 26.2 miles. It's just great to see that 50,000 people actually do come out here and challenge themselves against one of the harder marathons in the country. The way that I've described the start of the marathon is like in a movie when the aliens invade and they're trying to get everybody off the island. That's sort of like what it is. Everybody gets up and they are half asleep and they wander to their designated bus, and then all of the buses sort of shuttle out to the start of the race. This will be my third New York City marathon. Every other time I've done this race in particular, I've been in some considerable discomfort afterwards. There's a wall in any of these longer endurance races that you always have to hit. If you can burst through it and keep going, then it's almost like you get this second wind, and then you can keep going and carry that through to the finish. But if you don't have the energies and you just continually deteriorate, that's what I'm trying to avoid. Oscar from GSSI will be here racing, and he's been instrumental in coaching me along with especially the nutrition side of things.
You've been racing a lot. Are you still feeling fresh for this, or?
Yeah, you know, I took the last couple of weeks and really just kind of tapered down pretty significantly. Just tried to recover some energy in the legs and got a pretty good nutrition plan in place now.
Hit the 3-hour mark, had some toast, a bagel, and now I'm kind of into my normal plan. A 1-hour carb loading prime and then a 15-minute prime pouch. For the race, I'm gonna go with Gatorade Endurance Formula.
What he has to do is actually drink something, not just have the little sip, so that he gets enough fluid and enough energy on board. And I think if he does that, that's a very good strategy.
Last year I ran this in just under 3 hours and 21 minutes. So if I could get somewhere under 3 hours and 20 minutes, I think that would be pretty awesome.
It's very hard in a big race like this where there's so many fast runners around you to not get too excited and run with them. But you just have to set out on the pace that you plan to race at.
Really what kind of got into my mind was the first mile was so slow. I was like, gosh, I got to make up like a minute off of that first mile. And I didn't want to hold back too much.
For Ryan, he's gonna really have to keep in check over that first couple miles just because it's so exciting. You have thousands of people coming behind you, running with them, and it's an exciting environment. The first half needs to just be really conservation of any little bit of energy that you have.
This is one of the tougher marathons around. I think it's probably the hills, the bridges. You know, the bridges are like small hills that you have to run up and down, and I'm guessing that's part of it.
You come into Manhattan, you go underneath the underpass and up First Avenue, and it's just like super loud. I mean, you can hear the crowd from probably a half mile away. You get to that 18, 19 mile mark, and I start to think, this is the spot. They always say that race is halfway over at 20 miles, and it's kind of true. You really just start deteriorating at that point.
I recognize now that nutrition is important later on in the race.
My energy level was more consistent because I paid attention to my fueling before and during the race.
In a marathon, your main fuel is going to be carbohydrate. So you typically run out after about an hour and a half. It is very important that people take the time to actually get the fluid on board to make sure that your fuel stores are full and full with carbohydrates.
Once I got back into the city, I was pretty determined that I was going to finish pretty strong.
Thanks, guys. 3:17:58. Nice. Awesome run.
I was motivated by wanting to do well, like to prove to myself and really to prove to everybody else that this was all worth it. 3 minutes for me is pretty good to be 3 minutes faster. I'm pretty happy with that. I feel better than I've ever felt in this race before, and it has to do with this program, with having a nutrition plan, with having a focused training program. It really does make a difference on race day if you get that right.
The first marathon I did 2 years ago was this one here, and the recovery didn't go anywhere near as well.
After exercise, the muscle is very receptive to take up the carbohydrates. If you want rapid recovery, that first hour is actually quite crucial.
Got the recovery drink down, which is always sort of a staple of my recovery now.
This is the end of Inside Endurance, but it's not the end of my endurance sport career, and I'm hoping to, continually get better.